So, the other day I was referred to as a self-hating misogynist. Okay, so just to take a moment to express to you the depth of impact that this condemnation had upon me. Just okay. Now, what I did find offensive about it was that it was spectacularly lacking in imagination. So, one, I'm not self-hating. I love me. I think I am fabulous. And I will share my opinion with anybody and everybody. I mean, obviously, I'm posting it on the internet. But I give it solicited, unsolicited, whether it's welcome or not. And it was actually giving my opinion someplace it wasn't welcome that got me called a self-hating misogynist. But I'm also not a misogynist. I don't hate women. I think that women have every right to pursue their own destiny as men do. I think we're human beings just like men, and we have all of the same rights. I don't think we have more rights. And that's where, I differ from the women's movement, who I have now begun to refer to as the Pussy Hat Goddess and her minions. So it was one of the minions of the great Pussy Hat Goddess that referred to me as a self-hating misogynist. And I just couldn't help but wonder how they come up with this nonsense. I mean, so did the minion give it any thought whatsoever? Because to think, well, anybody who disagrees with us is a misogynist, and if it's a woman, then it must be a self-hating misogynist. I mean, did she come up with that herself? Or did she actually find out from the great Pussy Hat Goddess what that should be? And I mean, how do they do that? How does that whole movement work? I mean, is it so simplistic? Is it so inane and so banal just because it's so spread out and there's so many of them? I mean, is there the Pussy Hat Goddess version of the Magic 8 Ball out there that they use? I mean, it's a woman who disagrees with us. What do I call her? Shake, 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 shake. Oh, self-hating misogynist. There we go. I mean, is there an app? Do you have a Pussy Hat Goddess app on your iPhone? Is it a website? What? I mean, do they commune with the Pussy Hat Goddess through meditation? I mean, what's that look like? Oh, great Pussy Hat Goddess, take me in and embrace me in your deep vagina wisdom. Grant me your inanity and banality so that I may go forth and spread your great message of domination to the world. What's that look like? I can't help but wonder. And they put so little thought into this. And I think that is really what frustrates me the most with the women's movement. Because quite honestly, I'm not a misogynist, but the women's movement is starting to make me ashamed and embarrassed to be a woman. And I like being a woman. I don't want to be a man. I don't know how you guys walk around with those things. No. I mean, being able to pee standing up off the porch would be great. But no. I like being a woman. So I'm not a misogynist. I don't hate women. I don't think women should spend their lives barefoot and pregnant unless that's what they want. If they want to spend their lives barefoot and pregnant, they should be allowed to make that choice and not condemned for it by other women. Some women are very happy barefoot and pregnant. I would be miserable. So, the whole putting women back in the kitchen, back to being housewives would not work for me. Not my thing. So I do think that, women need to be able to pursue their own destinies, but we got to be careful because we don't want to swing the pendulum too far. And I think that the great pussy hat goddess is attempting to swing the pendulum a little too far. So, how much thought do they put into the positions that they take? It just seems so unimaginative if the only reason you can come up with for somebody disagreeing with you on a position or a policy is that they're full of hate and they want to depersonalize you. They want to take away your humanity. So you take away their humanity by just relegating them into whatever box you can and slapping a cheapo label on them. I mean, the string of ists and isms that come along behind any pussy hat goddess minion is just, I mean, I wish I could roll my eyes into the back of my head. That's how much of an eye roll I want to do on that one. It's just like, come on already. Can't we come up with something new? You've been doing the whole, we went from you're a chauvinist pig to now you're a misogynist. And you got to be a misogynist just for disagreeing. So if a woman is disagreeing with you, she's got to be a misogynist. So therefore, she's a self-hating misogynist. You're a bigot. You're a racist. You're an Islamophobe. You're a xenophobe. You're this, you're that. What you're apparently not is a human being capable of thought that disagrees with them. Because they are apparently so right, so morally superior, that anybody who disagrees with them is just less than human. I had a little problem with that. So, I can't help but wonder how that pussy hat goddess functions. Who is she? Is it a she or is it a collective? Is it, do they have her stashed in Area 51 and she's some extraterrestrial who communicates through telepathy, which is how they can commune through, the meditation. Oh, great pussy hat goddess. The things that make me wonder. And what was really sad is that when the other woman, the minion for the pussy hat goddess, called me a self-hating misogynist, she thought she had said something real. She thought she had said something meaningful. And it was this very superior, well, you just can't argue with the self-hating misogynist. And I feel bad for her. I feel so bad. Because it's like she has given control of her brain over to the pussy hat goddess. And because any individual of average intelligence or greater should be able to come up with something better than that. And if the most you can come up with on a reason for somebody to disagree with your position is that they just hate, I don't think you understand the issue. The issues that are facing us are complicated, and there are a lot of variabilities that work into it. And to make it that simplistic, to think that the solution, that the answer is so straightforward, and you are so right that there is no reasonable response to what you have to say, that's a little scary. And it was actually deeply flawed logic and a lack of thought that got me engaged in the conversation that got me called a self-hating misogynist in the first place. And it's bad logic that I see a lot of. And most of the time I can just, leave it, let it be. And I don't feel the need to point it out, because the truth is, in these situations, if you can't already see the deep, deep flaw in the logic that you're putting forth, it is simply because you don't want to see it. But I couldn't resist. I had to go for it. And quite honestly, it was fun, and I got something to talk about on a video. So, and I am going to start doing these pretty regularly, and I'm going to insert some self-promotion. So if you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button and leave a comment below if you would. But I'm going to use an analogy. I don't want to get into what the actual conversation was, because it'll take it off down a different political thing. And I just want to talk about logic and reason and how we're abandoning that. And why would we abandon reason? I mean, come on. Newton's third law, people. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Cause and effect. It matters. So if you make your actions without considering cause and effect, you're probably going to get in some trouble. So in this situation, let's say there are two people and they have the exact same vehicle that they want to sell. And it's a 2010 Chevy Tahoe. And they know each other, but they're on different sides of the political spectrum. But they're both selling their 2010 Chevy Tahoes. And one guy has, the first guy tries to sell his. Somebody comes to look at it and says, okay, that Chevy Tahoe's not worth a cent. No. And they get, outraged by that. And then the same person goes to their friend and looks at their Chevy Tahoe and says, okay, I'll give you $15,000 for that. And the first person says, well, that's only because you agree with him politically. You're a hypocrite. You told me a Chevy Tahoe was worthless, but you tell him it's worth $15,000. You're a hypocrite. And on the surface, it's what it sounds like. Now, a reasonable person might think, gee, what condition are those two cars in? Because that's a variable, right? You're talking about selling a car, the condition of the vehicle, how many miles it has on it. Those are important things. What kind of upgrades did it have? Is one just standard and the others, got all the bells and whistles? You don't know. But to the first person, none of that matters. It is surface level analysis only. So, the second guy goes to the first guy and he's like, what are you talking about him being a hypocrite? You haven't taken care of your vehicle. You haven't given it regular maintenance. You haven't paid any attention to how it's been doing. You drive it anywhere and everywhere. You ignored all of the engine lights that were going off. You ran it out of oil and destroyed your engine. Your car doesn't even run. Add to that, you've got dents in every door and your back bumper's off. Your car is worthless. Mine, on the other hand, I hardly ever drive. It's got less than 40,000 miles on it. I have had it serviced regularly. It is in mint condition. The only thing wrong with that is that somebody took a golf club and bashed in my rear window. And so my car is worth more than your car. No, they're both Chevy Tahoes. They're the same thing. And he's a hypocrite. And you're a hypocrite too, because you're taking his side. And it's just because you believe politically. And that's the only reason. And this is just bullshit. And anybody who is taking that position in a situation like that doesn't want to think. They have to actively not want to think. I wonder what that's like. I would love to know what that's like. If I could not think, just shut my brain off. I mean, my God, I don't sleep at night because I'm laying there and just going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny in there. I mean, last night I didn't get to sleep until 3 o'clock in the morning. The alarm goes off at 6:30. Meep, meep, meep. So that is the minion mentality. And I'm really kind of upset about what that is doing to women. We're going from letting men tell us who we are and what we can be to answering to the pussy hat goddess and her deep vagina wisdom that is completely infallible. So perhaps, I don't know, maybe if the pussy hat goddess got more imaginative, I could get on board, but just the fact that the pussy hat goddess is so inane and so banal, I guess I'm going to have to stay a self-hating misogynist. Just something to think about.